Every day I get asked, what actually happened with you in Project Veritas? Aren't you Project Veritas? There was some jealousy, some envy, some vindictiveness, petty human emotions. And when you're really going after the most powerful people in the world, you better have strong people beside you that you can trust. But betrayal hurts more than anything else. I think if you're in the arena taking arrows, you don't want to get stabbed in the back while you're taking arrows, from the front.
This is Unshaken and Unafraid with Joe Pags.
It was 2009 when the world became aware of James O'Keefe and his unbelievable journalistic abilities. He went in posing as a pimp, I believe, and James, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and he brought a young lady with him, and he exposed Acorn for the disgusting group that it was. I'm honored to have this man on right now. We've been friends a long time, had you on the show a lot of times. We've learned a lot from you over the years, James. How are you? It's good to see you.
It's great to be with you, Joe. I'm sitting here in Alex Jones's studio, which is very surreal. So I'm sitting here in Austin, Texas, and next time when I'm in Austin, we'll do this in person.
No, that would be great. That would certainly be wonderful. It was 2009, right? That's when you walked in.
2009, the Acorn pimp hooker whole situation. Yes.
Right.
Acorn was defunded. This is September of 2009, actually, going in there, releasing those videos with Andrew Breitbart.
So you walked in, exposed them, because you basically said, I'm bringing in underage prostitutes. Can we still do something with you?
These government officials were telling me how to skirt tax laws. They told me to classify the underage girls which didn't exist, but I said they existed, as dependents on tax forms. We were secret shopping this government bureau to see how far they would go to break the law. And it was kind of gonzo journalism, 60 Minutes meets Borat with a YouTube flair. This is now 16 years ago, Joe. 16 years ago next month. This is what we did. And it's I've done about 400 undercover investigations since, founded Project Veritas, founded O'Keefe Media Group, OMG, and Citizen Journalism Foundation. And we're putting out more stories than ever. Every week we're putting out a story now, undercover investigation every single week.
James, were you a journalist before that occasion? We just didn't know about it yet?
Before the Acorn investigation, I've been in college. I founded a newspaper. We did some campus muckraking, exposing what was happening at Rutgers in New Jersey, where I was a student. This is 2004, 2005 timeframe. George W. Bush was president. I did some pranks. I tried to ban Lucky Charms cereal because it's racist against the Irish, and I was successful. So it was a kind of a new pioneering of video exposure. Whereas journalism is more traditionally, who, what, when, where, why. This was, you need to see it. It's visual confirmation of what we all suspect and making them live up to their own rules, holding them accountable. And undercover work kind of fell out of fashion in the 80s and 90s, and we kind of brought it back. But it's very difficult because it's a tremendous amount of liability associated with it. It's catching people, and they sue you, and you get a lot of law. I've been sued 50 times. And many criminal investigations into what I do, because when you catch people in such a direct way, and you show the truth in such a visceral way, it's difficult. It's challenging work.
James O'Keefe Media Group, OMG. Make sure you follow him everywhere. When did Project Veritas become a thing? Was it already? Did you do that under the guise of Project Veritas, or was that a Breitbart thing, and then you started your company?
No, that was about a year after the Acorn story. I founded Project Veritas. I was arrested in the interim, and then I was on federal probation for 3 years. So I started Project Veritas. Phoenix rising from the ashes of me being confined and on house arrest for a little while there. And then I started sending cameras around and did one story after the other. I mean, the journalism is all about breaking the next story. And as long as you're producing, no matter what they throw at you, keep putting out the next story and getting trust from your sources. So, but in the initial days, it was going around with hidden cameras to polling locations and pretending to be dead and seeing if they'd give us ballots. We did a story on National Public Radio in 2011 where the chief financial officer was talking about how Muslim Brotherhood agents could give them $5 million. So it was just catching people being honest. And sometimes people are more honest when they don't know they're being recorded.
Project Truth, Project Honesty, basically, Project Veritas. When you say Project Veritas, you think James O'Keefe. So clearly you are Project Veritas, just like I'm Joe Pags Media. If they got rid of Joe Pags, there wouldn't be a Joe Pags Media. James, I have no idea why you're not the leader of Project Veritas anymore. The whole thing is very, very sketchy to me. And you're exposing all of it now in this docuseries, The Truth Inside Veritas. Are you just the boss one day and the next day somebody pushes you out? I don't get how that went down.
Yeah, it's The Truth Inside Veritas is part one of an investigative series into what happened. Every day I get asked, what actually happened with you in Project Veritas? Aren't you Project Veritas? But there was 70 employees at Project Veritas. It grew into a robust, like, investigative news bureau. And I think, Joe, making investigative reporting sustainable, nobody has ever done that. Like, can you name people doing really? No, because it's too expensive. It's about money. Yeah. And the contingent liabilities are so massive. So this story is crazy. The board members admitted in federal court that they were in business together. They were soliciting money from each other and from donors to fund their for-profit medical companies, which, in their words, could be sold to a big pharma like Pfizer. We were investigating Pfizer at the time. They don't like me saying that, but it's the truth. In fact, they said this under oath, and they're now scared to death. So they fired me, and then they sued me. That's a nonprofit. Nonprofits have a board of directors. I was one of three. It was a 2-to-1 vote to remove me. There was some jealousy, some envy, some vindictiveness, petty human emotions. And when you're really going after the most powerful people in the world, you better have strong people beside you that you can trust. And I admittedly did probably a poor job of selecting certain people. We've all been through this, but betrayal hurts more than anything else. I think if you're in the arena taking arrows, you don't want to get stabbed in the back while you're taking arrows, from the front. Right. But that's why the media environment has become very specialized. Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, everyone's their own individual now. I think it's very difficult to maintain an institution, a cohesive news environment these days. So the truth behind Veritas is a really deep dive into what exactly happened.
They go to O'Keefe Media Group to go watch that?
Yeah, it's behind our paywall. It's beautifully constructed. It's about an hour-long documentary. It's part one, and there's more deposition. Depositions are the part of the lawsuit where you go under oath and it's recorded, and you can see these people answering under oath what they did, why they did. They're contradicting themselves. They're talking about their conflicts of interest. One board member even says, James O'Keefe, you can't afford my mansion. It's just dark. And it's crazy to think that these people worked with me. Some have said it's almost like a spiritual attack. In one of the exhibits, they actually sent me a picture of me nailed to a crucifix. This is crazy. Wow. So again, for those of you who want to know what happened with Project Veritas, you can purchase this for $9 at O'KeefeMediaGroup.com. The Truth Inside Veritas Part 1.
Go and do that right now. It's James O'Keefe, the founder of Project Veritas, now O'Keefe Media Group. I guess, color me uneducated, James. So you've got a board of three. You're one of the three. I'm guessing you're not going to be in the board of directors unless you trust these people. How did they break your trust? I mean, was it all of a sudden, out of the blue, you couldn't believe it? Because, again, you are, and I think forever will be, to me, Project Veritas. And I apologize if you don't want to be known as that, but that's who you are to me. And in fact, Project Veritas still follows me and sends me stuff all the time, and I ignore them. Because you're not affiliated anymore. I just don't understand it. So again, I'm Joe Pags Media, and I've got people that work with me. They can't kick me out. Was it a matter of, and if this goes too far, let me know, but was it a matter of naivete that you felt these people would have your back?
Yeah. Yes. I was naive. And
were they friends of yours? Who are these other two?
I mean, evidently not. I mean, I think the word friend is certainly an overused term. I don't know what the word friend means. There's tree branches, there's leaves, and there's roots. And you're lucky if you have two friends in your life. Maybe your parents, maybe your best friend from high school. I mean, let's be real. When the FBI comes a knocking, Joe, and threatens your family, are you really going to have my back? That's let's put that issue over there. But that's certainly an issue that Michael Flynn experienced.
Yes.
You better have unbreakable people around you if you're going to be in this business. You have to have people so unbreakable they almost have to be akin to disciples. You can't have people who are self-interested in this business. So I think I learned that. And envy is a thing. I think people who want the spotlight or something like that it's not healthy. I think you got to have people who are in it for the right reasons. And I think this type of work tends to attract people who want perhaps fame or glamour or the spotlight or a following. I think that's gonna create toxicity, and you have these things kind of blend together, and then you have some straight up greed and conflicts of interest. One of my board members many years ago said, James, you got to be careful. This one guy, he wants to be you. I said, what does that mean? He wants to be me? And that's one of the guys that turned against me.
Wow.
So you got, certainly naivete, lesson learned. And I don't think there ever would have been a Project Veritas, Joe, if I wasn't naive and idealistic, right? I mean, are you really going to do this work if you believe the worst in everything?
No.
Most people have taught me that the human nature is brutal. But I had to be an idealist to do this. I had to be theatrical to a certain extent to do this. If you take away those qualities, there never, ever would have been a Project Veritas. So what we're doing now at OMG is we're trying to create a sustainable model for investigative reporting. We have a smaller team. We have the American Swiper series. We're doing some incredible work. We're doing more work than we did at Project Veritas, putting out 2 stories a week just on Johnson & Johnson this week. And I think it's important to have balanced and thorough investigative reporting. It doesn't really tell you what to think or, tell you what to believe or tell you what my opinion is. It just shows you the reality. And that's a difficult thing to sustain.
It is James O'Keefe. Go to o'keefemediagroup.com and go check out the Truth Inside Veritas. It's available now behind the paywall, but it's not a whole lot of money, and you definitely want the answers that he gives you. Let me go back to something you said a minute ago, James. You said that the company could be sold to Pfizer, and that just it jumps out at me as you probably were approached, I'm imagining, for millions and millions of dollars to stop what you were doing. Instead of investigating on us, here's a bunch of money, just look the other way. I'm guessing that happened. Are there stories like that?
Those people that would try to bribe me are afraid of me because they knew that I would secretly record them doing that. So it's kind of it's tautological. They're not going to approach me under a cone of silence because they know that I'm going to expose them. That's why but by the way, that's one of the reasons why they don't do that. I mean, there have been some questionable moments perhaps inside of someone's office where the guy would say, let's do a quid pro quo, but he'd kind of instantly back off when he knew that I objected to it. For example, no one ever told me, do this in exchange for this donation, because that's against my ethics code. And perhaps that's one of the reasons why they try to destroy you, right? Because you're not to be controlled, and that's obvious to anybody. But it's the idea of journalism should be to operate without fear and without favor. And let me give you a specific, less abstract example, this Epstein stuff. I mean, just the last 2 months, this whole Pam Bondi thing, I don't dislike her. I've met her. I want her to be successful. I support her in that sense. But that was a tough story for me to do when she's talking about the tens of thousands of children and all this stuff. I hesitated to publish it. But what would I be if I did not publish it? I don't think I'd have any integrity. And this is the challenge that you're faced as a human being is, am I an activist or am I a journalist? Right. Do I adhere to the truth or am I a partisan? These are challenging things. And especially when you're trying to build a sustainable organization. The Truth Inside Veritas is not about politics or about, Pfizer. It's about human nature. It's really about the 7 deadly sins. It's quite spiritual to what I endured, and I'm grateful for having gone through that. I think it made me a stronger person, taught me a lot about myself, a lot about the type of people I need to surround myself with. I've been doing this for 20 years, Joe. Been on your show for probably over a decade.
Yes.
And many more stories to come.
And we look forward to every one. It's James O'Keefe, O'Keefe Media Group. Go to o'keefemediagroup.com and check out the Truth Inside Veritas. Very important that we find that out because you're right. Everybody wants to know what's going on. James, were there really good people at Project Veritas beneath the board of directors that were stunned by this?
Yes, of course. I think you got, in any institution, you got, it's like a bell curve. You got the evil people. You got, I would say, what I would characterize as mostly good but weak people.
Okay.
That is to say, most people are for sale. And I don't mean that in a malicious sense. I just mean most people can be bought for $100,000. Usually that's considered their salary. And they wanted to keep working there and they didn't care. And then you got the really, really brave ones. And you got a few of those guys. And some of them came with me to OMG. So I would say that it's that's true in any organization.
It's James O'Keefe. James, when it comes to Project Veritas, are you going to get it back? It seems as though there's a drive and that you think you can get it back. Will you?
I think so. I mean, it's just a name. I think it's symbolically interesting to people. I mean, but it's just a name. There's a donor list and there's, different assets there, but there's the building's now gone. There's 14 years of my videos and a server and stuff like that, but I think we'll get it back eventually. We were in talks to acquire it, and we're in litigation. I can't talk about it because I signed a court document saying I'm not allowed to talk about the specifics, and I'll honor that. But I think eventually I will, Joe. It's a fight, though, man. I mean, I'm litigating against my own shadow right now. I'm
crazy,
literally in a lawsuit against my own creation, and that's its own type of psychological violence.
It's just amazing to me. So you don't have access to any of your old work? They have it all?
That's right. Well, I mean, it's on YouTube. It's on publicly available platforms, but the server and all that type of stuff that's 14 years of my life is on there. And I'm not the only person this has happened to, Joe. I mean, Tucker, removed from Fox, and
yes,
and Roseanne Barr, who I'm close with, fired from the biggest rated show in the history of ABC with Roseanne Barr, and the guy who was fired from Uber, who founded that. Elon Musk went through some version. I think any entrepreneur who creates something and builds something, you go through this, especially when you're trying to do something big. I think the difference in this case is when you're really going for the truth, when you're really going after the story, and you're getting too close, the Greek myth of Icarus, you're flying too close to the sun, your wings melt. I think that's what happened here. And I think I told Alex today, I'm in his studio, I said, be effective, but don't be too effective. Just don't go too close to this. Don't. Now you're starting to get to CIA, FBI, Pfizer. You're too effective, O'Keefe. Back off. Just be a good boy. Be a dancing bear. Raise the money. And I started this freaking thing in my dad's garage with negative equity, and now I got to pay all these salaries. So institutions tend to become too big, and then they cease to be about what they were. They started to do. But I also have to tell you one more thing, Joe. We have a new series out this week on unified.tv, 2 episodes regarding the CIA and Disney, a CIA agent that we caught on tape, and Disney executives. That's unified, UNIFYD.tv, kind of like Netflix for what we're doing. And we have these 2 episodes out. You can watch those as well, out now.
Unified.tv. Go check it out. It's James O'Keefe Media Group. Go there and find out the truth inside Veritas. I've got to ask you about you being raided by the FBI. You glossed over it early on in this conversation. I don't think all of my audience knows what happened. It was about the Ashley Biden diary, right? And they showed up. You're asleep. They take you out, handcuffs, the whole deal. Was this one of those made for CNN things like they did to Roger Stone, where the frogmen showed up in the middle of the night and acted like you were some sort of a cartel member? If you don't mind setting the scene for my audience, what the hell happened that day?
Yeah, that was the FBI raid. That was November 2021, a year after Biden was elected. This is a crazy, sordid story I've told many times, but they did drop the case. This is the FBI investigation into me and my newsroom at Project Veritas. They dropped the case in November of this year. The U.S. Attorney, the Southern District of New York, also known as the Sovereign District of New York, because they kind of act autonomously.
Right.
And then there was a big fight between SDNY and the Trump administration. And the U.S. attorney who dropped the case is not a Trumpy. This is an individual who I believe was at odds with Trump, but there was no case here, Joe. This was designed to just torture us and get inside our phones and get access to our messages. But
right.
Bottom line is, the story is about Ashley Biden's daughter, who had a diary, and she was writing in this diary things about her taking showers with her dad. And the Biden children are troubled and had some drug issues. And at the time we got the document, this is now September 2020, we tried to verify the document's legitimacy, and I was not comfortable, because I could not confirm with 100% certainty that it was real. I was 90% certain, but that was not good enough for me. And people try to set me up with forgeries, so we didn't publish the document. It turns out I'm a better journalist than I thought I was, because when the FBI came a knocking, they kind of confirmed that this was real. What's so odd though, it's not even a petty misdemeanor in city court. Even if I stole it, which we didn't, it apparently was abandoned at some halfway house and it was dropped off on our doorstep. We bought the rights to it. That's not illegal. Perhaps viewed unethically by some journalists, not criminal. National Enquirer buys stories all the time. And we were raided. And we had all these secret warrants. They went through Google. They went through my phone. They went through, I didn't even know it at the time. Showed up, shock troops, bulletproof vests, handguns, 6 a.m. on a Saturday. And that was
Sick.
4 years ago. And they did release, Joe, the affidavit just a few months ago. And I was so excited because I finally get to see the probable cause, like they talk about with Epstein. I want to know what's in that affidavit. I want to know what possible probable cause there are for raiding a newsroom. Of course, that's a paradox. There can be no such probable cause to raid a newsroom. It's unconstitutional. They simply need to talk to us. But guess what, Joe? They redacted every single word of the probable cause. This is the Trump administration now.
Wow.
The Trump administration has the power, just like they do with Epstein, to take away all those black bars. I'm not asking them to reveal everything, but most things. And as I've said on every show this week, Joe, the public's right to know why they raided a newsroom supersedes any FBI marginal right to protect their confidential informants. If you take that step, if you take that insane step, then we as the American people have a right to know. So I am suing the Department of Justice, Joe, to get those redactions unknown so we can see what's behind those black lines.
Well, James, let me ask you something that might sound obvious and it might sound dumb. And if it's either one, let me know. But is the inference I'm getting from you that possibly an undercover informant is the one who dropped it on your doorstep to try to get access to all your stuff? Is that possible?
I've been able to confirm that there were FBI confidential informants at Project Veritas.
Wow.
And I don't have a problem with people spying on me. I don't have anything to hide. I mean, one FBI agent even published my girlfriend's sexy, flirty messages. I don't know what that's about. That's weird. First of all, that's a tort. I don't publish people's private, what they do in their bedroom. I stay away out of the master bedroom. I don't think that's anyone's business. Unless you're involving children or doing something with taxpayer dollars.
Right.
But it's a really crazy story. I'm still getting to the bottom of it. There was certainly a conspiracy. There was the FBI involved, and they wanted to take me out. And there were people involved in that. And I've been able to confirm there were confidential FBI assets within Veritas. And I think that's what they're trying to protect, Joe. They want to protect their sources' methods. And that's why the institution is so problematic here. And that's one of the reasons why people don't do this sort of work, is because of the pain and they inflict upon you psychologically, financially, spiritually. And you got to really you really got to build a solid team of people. We're hiring at OMG, by the way, and we have a great team now. But I do want to go back to this unified.tv, which is why I'm on your show. Support us by watching these 2 episodes of the work that we're currently doing regarding Disney and the CIA. And this is related to what you're saying. The CIA admitted, Joe, that they were spying on Trump's ex-wife, Marla Maples, who I spoke with. And the CIA talked about withholding information from Trump. We caught that on tape. And we need more people to be brave and come forward from within these agencies. It takes enormous courage, but I don't know if our country has a chance unless people do that.
Well, by the way, the CIA is not allowed to do that. Obviously, they're supposed to be outward looking, and they can't investigate anybody here unless she was in Uganda. I don't know how they're spying on her. CIA, of course, does what they're not allowed to do, and that's what we have to stop. I love that you're still firm on this. And you said that you're bringing on employees at OMG, but you're also using freelancers. You're calling it what, the swipe team or something? What's
Swiper. It's called the American Swiper. Okay. Is the name of the TV show. American
and they go out and they do the investigation, and you pay them per diem. How does that work?
Yeah, they're like independent journalist contractors. They're like Charlie's Angels, or whatever metaphor you want to use. It's its own group of people that they're very talented, and I actually am proud to say we probably have better undercover people than we've ever had, because they come to the table equipped with the skill sets. Like the young woman who recorded the CIA officer, phenomenal. and I didn't even have to teach her some of these skill sets. The guy at the CIA was suspect of her, and she went to the bathroom, dumped out her equipment, came back. He looked through her bag, was satisfied. She went back to get the equipment, and then they kept talking.
How
I mean,
good
this
is
guy,
that?
you can't. If you went to Netflix with this stuff, they would laugh at you because it's so preposterous.
Wow.
So preposterous, because truth is stranger than fiction. And the guy is sitting across the table from, in some cases, me, James O'Keefe in glasses. And these are spy hunters, self-proclaimed espionage people bragging about what they do inside the intelligence community. So how it works is we have these sometimes guys, sometimes gals. A lot of the guys are gay. There's a lot more of that in DC than you would believe. A lot of people secretly gay. So it's not just women, but they are on these dating apps, Bumble, Hinge, and Grindr, and we're meeting with these deep state dudes, and they're telling us all about how they break the law. It is against the law to withhold information from a sitting president, whether you like it or not. And the Disney Corporation executives told us they don't hire white people, which is also against the law in the state of California. So we catch them on video, and this TV series takes you behind the scenes. It's really fascinating. It's very well done. I'm very proud of it. I'm most proud, by the way, of all the things I've done in my life. I'm proud of the Unified.TV series. I'm proud of The Truth Inside Veritas. Also, another movie, Line in the Sand, I made with Tucker Carlson Network. I'm really proud of these deep dive, hour-long, 2-hour-long investigative movies that we've made.
It's James O'Keefe, O'Keefe Media Group. Go to unified.tv and go check out what he's doing there, and also go check out The Truth Inside Veritas. You know, you sort of jumped ahead of me. Maybe you're prescient, but I was going to ask: is everybody in DC on these stupid apps, and do they go with anybody? James, to go there with anybody, having not even looked into who they are, and by the way, sitting across from you, they should recognize you. Hello, but to do this, I mean, their lack of caring about who finds out what about what. I mean, they're telling people on a first date what they do for a living, how deep it goes, what they're holding back from the president, that they're in the CIA. I mean, is everybody in that beltway on those apps?
Yes. Yes. Everyone in the beltway is on the apps. I mean, it's just that simple. Because there's such a huge, when you lie, when you live by lies, to quote Alexander Solzhenitsyn, when you live by lies every day, every hour of the day, the challenge for you is you have to keep track of the lie. We all know this. We've been taught since children that when you lie, you better remember what you're lying about. So the work that we do with American Swiper is people tell the truth. Why? Because of the human impulse to tell somebody, to confess. Now, many of these are not Catholics or Christians. Some of them are. But I view what they're doing as a kind of confession. And they're not even having a dialogue with me. They don't care about me. They don't care about you. And most people want to talk about themselves. Let's be real. In fact, if you express interest in these deep state guys, they'll talk and brag, and pride will come before their proverbial fall. But in this sense, they're telling the truth. And in one of these videos, there was one moment where I'm sitting across from a guy inside the Biden White House. And at one point he says, wait a second, I know nothing about you. And I got freaked out because, am I going to get burned?
Right.
And I turned it right back on him. I said, well, you're like James Bond. You're just so incredible. And he goes, oh, stop. And he kept going. So they're very, They have this sort of mask, and they're stuck inside their own psychosis. They're very unaware, no introspection. And that is why they keep falling for it.
The thing that gets me, and by the way, this is the website, unified.tv. It's UNIFYD.tv. Go there, start your free trial right now, and check out this series that James is talking about. When I see these people realize it's you, or you actually walk up and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it, They lie as if you don't have all the video and audio tape. They literally say, I didn't say that. One guy was calling you all sorts of names, but
worse than that, they deny their own identity. And I think
that's not who I am.
Thing.
Really?
Yeah, that's what the Johnson & Johnson guy said this week. This is one of the lead scientists, regulatory scientists said, that's not me. I said, it's not you. Yeah, that's not me. I think it's people struggle with the mirror. They struggle, not everyone, but many of us struggle with the reflection of ourselves. Because let's be honest, I don't tell you what I think. I don't opine or offer my conjecture or my interpretation. I literally show them. And I think that's actually one of the reasons why hidden cameras aren't used, because it doesn't allow for any interpretation. It doesn't allow a way out for the subject. He can't lie because it's so apparent. It's almost like it's so true. The more true it gets, the worse it gets. And the implication being that these powerful people that have all the power, I mean, we've pissed off Big Pharma, we've pissed off the FBI. We've actually investigated the FBI. A week ago, we released a recording from within the FBI saying that they're messing up the Epstein stuff and they're not doing the right thing. They're turning a blind eye. These are his words, not mine. The more truth that you tell, the more liability is created for the messenger. So what do? They lash out against the mirror. They attack the mirror. Literally, the Pfizer guy attacked me and started smashing the iPad that I had in my hand as if the only location of the video of him was on that particular iPad. But that's what people do. It's very demonic. It's very spiritual. It's very psychological.
Right.
And it's very fascinating. It's actually very fascinating, in my opinion.
Unified.tv. There it is there. Unified is UNIFYD.tv. Go check it out. Go get your free trial going. Also go to O'KeefeMediaGroup.com and check out the truth behind Project Veritas. James, you're also looking into Johnson & Johnson. They knew that there were adverse effects. They just didn't tell us the truth. What's going on with that?
Yeah, well, the guy was the lead regulatory science at Johnson & Johnson, sat there munching on ice cream saying, oh, we know. We know. We gave the people what they want. We got a scene out of a movie. We're just giving what they want. Listen, they're all going to die of cancer anyway. That's what he says.
Wow.
But he says the vaccine was not safe and not effective. A lot of people took the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because it wasn't the mRNA one.
Right.
The Pfizer mRNA director had told us 2 years ago that they were mutating the virus, but don't tell anybody this. But it's from China, and he was saying all the things that we suspected. So I don't think this is going to surprise anybody. I think most people have woken up now, Joe, to the whole pandemic situation. But I think it's important to confirm suspicions. People saying, why aren't there any arrests? I don't know. That's another subject. It seems as though people in this country who, if you mutate viruses and you lie about viruses, you'll be scot-free. If you have done pedophilia with Jeffrey Epstein, if you have done that, you will be scot-free. And if you're an investigative reporter, you'll be raided by the feds. So the world's upside down. And I think the only solution is more videos, more truth. We need people on the inside of these agencies to come forward. That's what we need.
If somebody wants to join up with you on OMG, just go to O'KeefeMediaGroup.com and you can apply there. Let's say somebody is an entrepreneurial journalist who knows how to handle a hidden camera. How do they get a hold of you? How do they get involved?
The American Swiper, there's a portal through our website. You go to O'KeefeMediaGroup.com. You can sign up to be an American Swiper. I would watch these Unified TV episodes to get a full understanding of what you're signing up for. People think it's glamorous. You know, they think of James Bond and cars and watches. There's some of that, but I would say it's mostly unglamorous. You have to believe in justice. You have to desire to get the story. You have to know how to be a journalist, think like a journalist. As you're sitting there, know what the story is. Watch the Unified.tv episodes to fully understand what it takes to be an American Swiper.
I've got one of your books on my desk. I think, is it American Muckraker? There's also American Pravda, I think. I've got one of those books sitting on my desk. Okay, what are they? Tell us.
Breakthrough. The first book I wrote is about the Acorn investigation, going to jail and facing criminal threats in New Hampshire and people trying to infiltrate. It was a memoir in my late 20s of my 10 years of doing it. And then American Pravda, I wrote in 2016, was about the undercover investigation we did into the Hillary Clinton campaign, which then sued us, went all the way to jury verdict. I won on directed verdict, and I lost on they sued me under a theory of I went undercover and exposed they were inciting violence at Trump rallies. They sued me for breach of fiduciary duty, as if I had a duty to the Hillary campaign, but they won in D.C.
Wow.
Jury pool. I learned about that. And then my latest book is called American Muckraker, and it's really a journalism treatise, a textbook of sorts. All my knowledge and learned wisdom about ethics and privacy and power and propaganda. It's kind of like my manifesto. And you know, it's a lot of suffering, actually, a lot of pain, and understanding truth. I've become a more spiritual person. I believe in the fight of good versus evil and light versus darkness. But American Muckraker is the book that I'm most proud of.
Go and get all those books. I think it's American Prop that's on my desk, but I have them all. The Truth Inside Veritas is a video. The part one of the documentary is over at O'KeefeMediaGroup.com. You said something a minute ago that I want to just ask you about in the remaining minutes. You said that you think that Americans have woken up. I agree. I think that for the large part, those who are paying attention are waking up. I did a short form video on Instagram and on TikTok the other day, and it was about the fact that the DHS is saying you don't have to take your shoes off anymore at the airport. And I say, this is great. We should be able to leave our shoes on, get technology that's good enough to not breach my ability to freely travel and not break my rights of privacy and so on and so forth. Plus the guy in front of me has smelly feet, whatever. And a lot of the response on there, and you might be surprised by this, might not be. A lot of people said, I agree with you, Pags. We shouldn't have to wear our shoes on the plane anymore. And just as many said, if it makes me safer, what's the problem with taking my shoes off? And I thought to myself, why? Are your shoes going to damage the plane? You feel better having taken your shoes off because somebody in a uniform that could be like a Gestapo is telling you take your shoes off. That didn't make sense to me. But the reason I bring that up is because you're right. A lot of people are awakened. A lot of people are still very, very indoctrinated. A lot of people still think the shot works.
Yeah.
A lot of people still think ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine don't work. Is that why you keep doing it? Because the masses in general are getting smarter, but a lot of people are still in the shadows.
Well, that's a very interesting point. I've found that what's changed in the world in the last 15 years is that people believe what they want to believe. I think that was H.L. Mencken who said that. So with the media's rise of niche outfits, people are in their own information bubble.
Yes.
So I'm not doing this to convince my people that might be profitable in some cases, not in my case. I don't think investigative journalism has yet been proven to be profitable because of how much we get sued and how expensive it is to do the work. But I think that some people will say now, they never said this before, we already know that, James, we want blood. So people in the conservative side, they want blood. People want, I think I speak for most of you, they want executions, hangings. That's what people want. I mean, that's what I've heard. Right. We don't care that we don't want to see the Johnson & Johnson executive. We want people in prison. But the problem is that you want their blood and they want your blood.
Right.
So basically, we just end up in a bloody mess.
And
that's what James Madison warned about in Federalist 10. So I view what I do and what we're trying to do in the spirit of building some type of shared moral consensus. Like, what are the facts? What's the reality? Like, we don't forget the public policy prescriptions. We got to agree on reality. If we don't even agree on reality. So if I'm able to convince 1% on the margin, hell, if I'm able to convince 0.01% on the margin, then that's how you change the world. You don't need to change everybody's mind. You don't need to change your cousin or your aunt's mind when she puts on the blinders. I've heard the stories on Thanksgiving dinner. I think the video is doctored. Forget her. But if you can change one person's mind, not by telling them what I think, but by showing them what is true, that's what keeps me going.
Man, it's a great point.
And everyone wants the silver bullet solution, but no. One person at a time. That's all.
It's interesting because when I talk about abortion on my show, I'm pro-life. Many are pro-choice. I'm not going to change the pro-abort people. I'm just not. And the pro-life people are already on my side, want people in handcuffs or hanging, as you said. But I've gotten emails from people who said, for 5 years, I've been yelling at my radio that I'm not going to be pro-life or that I wouldn't be part of an abortion. And they say, because of what you brought, I have now changed my position. Dude, you just nailed it, James. That's exactly what it is. There's somebody on the periphery, somebody in the middle, somebody who's leaning a little bit here and there that might just need the information that you bring with OMJ or that hopefully I bring on my show. And that's really what it's all about. I haven't heard anybody explain it better than you just did. It's truly about not the person you're talking to. It's about the people that might hear it as well or might see it as well.
And that's what's changed in the media landscape, because in the 80s, it was Walter Cronkite, Mike Wallace, and then even 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't this bad. But it's gotten so bad that people on the edges don't want to hear something that runs against their belief system. In fact, on the right side, on the MAGA side, now there's so much infighting because of that. People conjure up things in their imagination of what might be true, and when the reality comes out, it doesn't they're let down because they already know what the truth is, right? Everyone knows what Epstein thinks. No, you don't necessarily know.
We don't.
I mean, I can tell you there's more there, and I can tell you it's bad. It may not be what you think it is. So, I mean, I think journalists have a responsibility. I don't love the demise of journalism. I think Elon Musk buying Twitter was the greatest thing that ever happened to the First Amendment, but we still need like solid, thorough who, what, when, where, why, unbiased journalism. And that's what gives us our shared sense of morality. That's what keeps us informed. That's so important. And I don't think anyone's yet created a sustain. I created a company and they fired me from my own company for doing it. So anybody who figures this out, I mean, I hope to figure it out. I will figure it out in due time, but it's not an easy thing. And we need brave people who believe in something greater than themselves and who are willing to make sacrifices for the truth. And that's what we're about. That's my mission. And I call on all of you out there, if you work for the FBI or the CIA or some foreign intelligence agency, to jump on the proverbial grenade for the public's right to know. Without that, there is no hope. There is no future.
James, I love that you're on the front lines, my brother. I appreciate everything you do. James O'Keefe, go to O'Keefe Media Group, o'keefemediagroup.com, and go check out The Truth Inside Veritas. That's part one. Also go to unified.tv, and it's UNIFYD.tv, and check out the special series he's got there. Thanks for making the time today. Next time you're in town, let's get together. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, brother. That's it for Unshaken and Unafraid with Joe Pags. We're back with another one very soon.